And it's been quite some time since I think they've even made a final toe. Must be a bit distressing, I guess, for the Auckland supporters up there, eh?
Oh, well, we've won it 3 times. I mean, everybody's, thinks, the Blues are useless because they haven't won a championship in 10 years. But at the end of the day, we've won it 3 times.
Yeah, back in the 90s.
That's more than the Chiefs, more than the
Hurricanes,
more than the Highlanders.
Yeah.
You just can't beat the Crusaders because they're just such a well-oiled machine, and they are a machine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll happen, mate. I just think that the whole culture of the Blues needs to change and go back to some of the principles and things that we used to believe in. With community, being a tight community, a close community, getting people involved, not trying to suck out every dollar from the punter, just to pay the chief executive and the coach.
Yep, indeed. Anyway, just real quick, Darcy Short, we'll just go into a little bit of cricket. Darcy Short fell 11 runs short of the world record in a one-dayer. I think he scored 257 in that game against, I can't remember, was it an Aussie? It was almost a record. Anything else been happening in sport over that ways there, JT?
Mate, not so much here, but in Paris, France, the 42nd Ryder Cup kicked off last night.
Right.
The Europeans had a clean sweep in the foursomes. Tiger Woods making his 8th appearance for Team USA, and I said last week, everyone else in the world we're going for the Europeans and stuff the Yanks.
Right.
Mate, I watched some of it early this morning, and the Europeans really pumped, like you say, clean sweep of the round in the afternoon, and the Europeans were behind 3-1, and by the end of the day, they were up 5-3. So
wow.
It'll be interesting to see the next couple of days go. I still think the Yanks have got a bit too much firepower, and I can't expect the Yanks to take this one out again.
Right. Tiger Woods also won a big tournament the other day as well, so I'm not sure if he's back on track, but what do you reckon there, JT?
Well, I always thought that, you might call me stupid or crazy, but I always thought that it was a conspiracy by certain people in the US to undermine the great man because they didn't want a black Asian being the best golfer of all time.
True enough.
Typical that sort of thing. They ruined his personal life, sent in different beautiful blonde women, and who was here to turn them down, and just picked them apart, and it's been off the rails for probably nearly 10 years ago. I think that Tiger all happened.
It has been a while, yeah.
Way back, and hopefully he does eventually. No disrespect for Jack Nicklaus, a great golfer, but I'd like to see Tiger Woods on top of the golfing world. Tiger's
only 3 PGA wins behind the great Ben Hogan, and the next person closest to Tiger, it comes in with about 60 odd PGA wins. So you can see that, I hope that Tiger blitzes him next year. I think he's going to win more than one. And he is the greatest of all time as far as I'm concerned. He might not have 18 majors.
Yes.
He's got 14.
Yes.
And, even to win one is good enough.
It's a big deal, yes.
What you have to do is look at Michael Campbell.
Yeah.
So he's got 14. I still think he's the bee's knees. I love him to bits. I don't really give a shit about what people think of his private life because his private life is his own.
Absolutely.
And none of us really know Tiger. We only know what we see on the goggle box, and I just think he is the greatest. And he didn't play too well earlier on in the first round of the Ryder Cup. Might have been a bit tired. Might have been because he did play only about 5 or 6 days ago. So he's feeling the pinch, and maybe he will play better during the week.
Indeed. Anyway, unfortunately, we've kind of come to the end of our little run here. Anyway, I tell you what, it's been an absolute pleasure to be able to talk to you both, JT, and also to you, To. And it's been wonderful to be able to catch up with you once again too, Ra. But before we do end off, we come to our favourite part, well, in particular, my favourite part of the show, the part of the show where we get to release some of the angst that has built up over the week. So, now, gentlemen, let us put the boot in! My put the boot in is kind of going to myself. There are just so many things. There was a fight that happened last night just down the road here, apparently. There's been all sorts of arguments going around the world about things that have happened. And because of all these things, I just am so indecisive as to who to put the boot into, because there's so many things to put the boot into. So because it has all kind of been overwhelming for me, I've decided to put the boot into myself. So that is my put the boot in!
I might just get into your Uncle Donald Trump there, Keezy. It's been a few months since I sort of put the boot into him, but I loved the speech he gave at the UN Assembly Hall before Jacinda done her one the day before Jacinda did her one, I believe. But it's all about him, and then a lot of the crowd they started laughing, and it was the reception that he thought that he'd get. He's such a colourful individual, and he'd make a better stand-up comic than he does a politician, maybe. Who knows? The Americans like him. The Americans voted him in, so I think that's their problem for the next however long he's got in their presidential system. So that's my
put the boot in.
Yeah, boys, I was home last week. I went up to Ruatoria to see my nan, looking at some land up there which she's possibly going to leave me or give me in the near future. Just across the road is the St. John's St. John's Ambulance Hall, and some person stole the floodlight which lights up, the car park and the surrounding areas. So to you, my friends, you are pond scum, you are naval lymph, you are rubbish, you are a waster, you're an absolute Tawhiwhirangi. I hope you get cancer and drop dead, mate. I wouldn't limmy on you if you were on fire. And that's my
put the boot in.
I was trying to think of one person I'd like to put the boot into, but I can't. Everybody thought I might put the boot into Billy Slade. But actually, I put the boot into the people who let him off, because it's their fault. It's not Billy Slater's fault. It's the NRL judiciary that need a good kick up the backside. They're wasters, like JT says. They're useless. They're tea-toys. They had the chance, actually, to do something good for the game. But what they did was show how corrupt and how inept that they really are. If they believe that from Billy, then they believe that the world is flat. Idiots from the NRL judiciary. That's who I'm going to put the boot into.
Put the boot in! That is just one of the, one of the things that we've been discussing, AJT, has been the refereeing, the performances of some of the refereeing decisions that have been made, especially this year. AJT, that's one of the things that we've been harking on from when the NRL started this season. And I guess it all kind of leads into to what you're talking about there, Ato. I knew he was going to be let off because, it's the Australians, it's their rugby league judiciary, it's their thing. They're not going to let one of the greatest players miss out on a grand final. I mean...
Yes, that's right. And that's why it's corrupt.
Yes.
Oh, I'm not going to tear the correct game down from the inside out. I think it's the correct decision, and I think you're just jealous. You're not playing in the last game of the year.
No, but I'm not. I'm glad that Billy's going to play. I love Billy to bits. I mean, if I wasn't a Dragon supporter, I'd most probably be a Storm supporter. I mean, how ridiculous is that? But hey, never mind. But Billy Slater, good on him. He knew how to beat the judiciary, and it was about playing the violin very slowly
and very well.
You know, and they.
You're absolutely right. I do agree with you. I've said it before that the process needs to be reviewed and changed around. The wrong people are running the game. Is that, no offence to you because you're an ex-politician, but there's an ex-politician called Peter Beattie, who's the chairman of the NRL, or some other outfit they called him, and he's an idiot. He didn't even know who the Cronulla. He called them the Cronulla Hawks, for goodness sake. This is a guy who's in charge of the NRL Commission. That's what they're called. And you've got Todd Greenberg, who's an absolute dipstick. He's killing the game. And it's the people's game. Rugby league has always been the people's game.
Yeah.
Give it back to the people.
Well, the thing is,
you're right, mate.
the thing is this. One of the things, you know, because when the State of Origin was on, I was as confused as anyone else was when Billy Slater was given the what was that medal that he won? Wally Lewis. He was given the Wally Lewis medal. You know, and I understand why they gave it to him. I'm just not sure whether he deserved to have that medal. What do you reckon there? Well, I'll ask you first, Toe. What do you reckon about that?
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a shocker, and I think it was given to him out of sympathy more than anything else. I mean, well, thankfully, the Dally M medal was given to the bloke who actually deserved it the most. Which is Roger 2006.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can sit there and argue till the cows come home about what's that and the other thing, and at the end of the day, JT's right. League is a people's game, especially in Australia, and it's about time people started running it.
True enough. But we'll get back onto the subject. The Wally Lewis medal. What was that about there, JT? Please give us some semblance.
Oh, look, I think the most embarrassed person about that whole thing was Billy Slater himself. I mean, look at the place, you know, and credit to the man, he just took it in his stride. And once again, it's not his fault, it's just the system. The system is clearly flawed, rigged, corrupt, whatever way you want to put it, crooked. And it needs to be changed. It needs to be changed quickly because fans are turning off from the game. Look at the crowds, they're pathetic, they're poor, you know, and as far as I'm concerned, and I'm biased, I know that we've got the best on-field product there is in Australasia, but it's the dickheads that are running the game and killing it.
Can you remind us what your put the boot in again was, JT?
Oh, the dipstick who stole the
right
from the
Times
ambulance building in Ruatori. Absolute podden scum, mate. I hope you get cancer and die slowly.
Was what must have been one of the rallies up there, eh? Must have been one of your rallies up there.
More than likely one of those ones that have come down from the north.
Come on. We don't have lights up home, though.
Now, Ra, it was interesting that you brought up the one about Donald Trump. Eh? I mean, were the people because people were kind of laughing. Obviously, people at the UN were laughing at his speech there for a while, eh?
Yeah, probably. Just a little bit of I don't know, bit of an ego complex from DT or Trumpy, but he's like that. He's a showman, and he expects nothing else. But he didn't expect that sort of reply. Probably because he even though I think it was the United Nations Assembly, even though that's in the States, a lot of the audience there was sort of foreign dignitaries. So there were a lot more Americans in there. Maybe he would have probably got a standing ovation. But
true,
because the majority of them were from other countries and even maybe some countries that don't like the guy. But nothing but to laugh was probably one of the only things to do. But the man's still there. So for good or bad, whether you like him or dislike him, his people sort of love him. So hey, I suppose for him that's what it's all about.
So what are your thoughts there, Toe, about Donald Trump's speech, and in particular about how he's running their country? Oh
no, look, he does get to say what he wants. I mean, and people love him or hate him. I think it's a nut job, quite frankly. But the fact is that they go and listen to him. That's why the auditorium is full of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, they go and listen to them. They might laugh, but hey, at the end of the day, you get full of crowd. And at the end of the day, they voted for them. So
Yep.
none of that